Welcome to the Texas Values Report. My name is Megan Benton. I'm the Strategic Policy Associate here at Texas Values. It is an honor to be filling in for our President and Attorney Jonathan Saenz as he is traveling across Texas this week with our team, giving you updates on what happened during the legislative session and how you can be more involved. This is something we love to do, traveling around, getting to talk to each and every one of our supporters. We absolutely love this, and so most of our team is handling that this week. A few really important events that are happening this week. Last night, we were actually in Midland, Texas, up in the West Texas area, with Coach Joe Kennedy, who was our keynote speaker for the night. If you don't recall, Coach Joe Kennedy was the coach that was fired for praying on the football fields. Yes, he was fired for praying on the football field, but he didn't stop there. He took his case all the way to the Supreme Court and he won. So he was in West Texas with the Texas Values team talking about the importance of religious freedom. Tonight, we are actually sold out. Our event is sold out in Southlake. This is a Tarrant County event. It's a legislative update and benefit. We are super excited about it. Representative Nate Schatzline and Representative Mitch Little are going to be there tonight, and I can't wait to hear how this amazing event goes. And last but not least, we have another event this week in Houston at Maggiano's in the Galleria. So if you are in the Houston area, we still have some tickets available, and we would love to see you there. So it's at 12 p.m. at Maggiano's in the Galleria. Don't miss it. Moving on to a couple of things that are not happening this week, we have more exciting things coming up, including a Fredericksburg legislative update event happening July 9th at 1 p.m. at Bridge Church in Fredericksburg, Texas. We are partnering with Fredericksburg Tea Party, and they are helping us put this amazing event on. We are super excited about that. So if you're in that area or you just want to come see us, please register for that event. We would love to see you there. And last but not least, start putting it on your calendars. Texas Faith Fest is coming up. We are super excited about this. It's going to be in Austin, Texas, again this year, September 26th and 27th. We do have confirmed that Riley Gaines is going to be joining us by recorded video. So we are super excited about that. And so is Senator Mays Middleton. He will be at the event with us yet again. So we are super excited to have both of these faith and family champions at this event. Definitely put it on your calendars. It will be here before you know it. We did have multiple bills get signed into law by the governor recently, including House Bill 229, which defines men and women in law. This is an incredibly important piece of legislation, and we are super excited to see it moving forward. Not only that, but SB 10. This is the 10 Commandments bill that we are super excited to talk about today. This also got signed along with SB 11 and SB 13, HB 100, and SB 1257. So these are all incredible bills. Definitely check out our social media to hear more about these incredible bills. But without further ado, I want to introduce our amazing guest for today. Representative Noble has lived in the Collin County area for 31 years and was elected to represent House District 89 in 2018. Representative Noble is in her fourth term at the Texas House of Representatives and serves on the House Committee on Ways and Means, Human Services, and is elected the vice chair of the subcommittee on property tax appraisals. She is a strong proponent of education and has her degree in education from Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene and serves on their board of trustees. She has been a critical supporter of faith and family, taking the lead on SB 10, the 10 Commandments bill in the Texas House. And we're going to talk about that today, along with SB 33, which ensures that taxpayer money does not go to fund out-of-state abortions. She's a true fighter for faith and family, and we are so excited to have her with us today. Representative Noble, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
Well, I wanted to just talk about SB 10 a little bit. This is a monumental piece of legislation, and you really took the lead on it in the House. What inspired you to do that? Why did you find this piece of legislation to be so critical that you would take the time to push this piece of legislation forward?
It's just so important that we as Americans understand our foundation, and the Ten Commandments, the Bible, are foundational to both our education system as a nation and our judicial system as a nation. Our forefathers were taught to read using the Bible, using the McGuffey Reader and the New England Primer, and all of those are just full of the Ten Commandments. And so that was who they were taught and how they were taught. And you can't read any of those early forefathers' writings without seeing the Bible interspersed within it. And it's hard to understand where we came from without that foundation. You can't move a house off its foundation and expect that house to be as strong as it was. And so that is why it's so important to me that our youngsters know where we came from and why we don't steal, why we don't kill, why we treat others with respect and respect authority and respect others. And that has been lacking in our education system, frankly. We've had classroom mayhem, and we've had a lot of teachers leaving the classrooms that are master teachers because they just can't control the kids. So it's time for us to understand where we came from and why that was so important to our forefathers. And so I'm really, really pleased to be able to be both the author, the sponsor. It ended up being in the Texas House of the Ten Commandments. So let me brag for just 1 second about Texas values. In the House, we didn't get to lay out the Ten Commandments bill in education. They had had a very long, the Pub Ed Committee had had a very long day. We didn't get to lay it out till 4:30 in the morning, but you guys were there. You guys were there to testify on that. In the wee hours, we finished it at 6:10 a.m. And I've never had to do that before. It's my fourth term, and I was exhausted, and I was just so grateful for you guys for hanging in there with me until the end. And of course we got it passed and to the House floor. Y'all were there all 3 days that we debated it in the House, and I'm just so grateful for that. Let me say that I love it that y'all show up.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Representative Noble. We are so appreciative of all of your leadership in the Texas House, just pushing forward this legislation. I mean, we do like to be boots on the ground whenever possible, absolutely just pushing through this legislation, but it takes strong representatives like yourself to get it across the finish line. We'll be there, we'll support you, but your work on this bill is just absolutely incredible. That was actually going to be my next question was, it was quite an eventful process, right? Trying to get this bill passed. There was a lot of opposition in the House and a lot of debates. I think you were debated by a couple of different representatives. And how was it being on the floor during that process? Had you ever had to deal with something like that before? And what was the experience like? We could see from the gallery, but it's a completely different perspective, I'm sure, coming from the floor on that whole process.
So, as a Christian, it was just really important to me to show the hallmark of Christianity, which is love. And I wanted to come across representing the Lord in a way that honored Him and wasn't mean. And so that was my first goal in the way I debated the bill and the way that I talked about it. The other thing that I had to have in my mind was that this will be a Supreme Court case, and I'm really excited about that. By the way, I'm not disappointed about that. And so I also had in the back of my mind that I didn't want to mess up. And I'll brag on Phil King. He had it through the Senate first, and I said to him that the day that I was going to lay it out in Pub Ed, I said, I just don't want to say anything that will mess up the Supreme Court case. And he said, Candy, there's nothing in the world you're going to say it's going to mess up that case. And I was like, free, to do what I needed to do. And so it was something I was very, very prayerful about, and I also was very prepared. I had read a lot of original documents from our forefathers, and felt like I could go in and debate with the best of them, and that's what I did. They tried to pull a lot of different things out of context from our forefathers, and I was able to debate that, I think, in a way that honored both our forefathers and kept the bill on track. So just so excited, for those that don't know, we have had the Ten Commandments here on the grounds of the Capitol for a number of years, and somebody tried to remove them quite a few years ago, and those words were, and that monument was actually affirmed by the Supreme Court, and that's why we're using the wording off of that monument because it's already passed that test back even under the Lemon Law, which has now been overturned. So we're pretty excited about the first posters are already being printed, ready to go into classrooms across the state. I'm so pleased to be part of that.
Well, that's a really exciting update. I love the fact that they are already being printed and that they're going to be in the classrooms. I think that's just such a crucial part of the work. It's just, not only passing the legislation, but getting them in the classrooms and really affecting that change. I think that's just so impactful, and I'm sure our audience is really happy to hear that as well. You mentioned earlier, you were talking about how this is going to impact the classroom, and I totally agree with you. As someone with some education experience that obviously cares a lot about the education system, do you think that this is going to be a positive step in the right direction, and are you hopeful that this is going to be implemented well?
Well, unfortunately I've been onto some different chat rooms with teachers that are talking about how they're going to hide them in their classrooms, or the most egregious was one of them that said that they were going to paint over it with poop colored paint, and how sad. How sad that you don't want to have kids see words that are so affirming to what we are as a nation. And I'm hoping that those words, even the teachers that are afraid of them, I guess, I don't know, that they'll sink into their hearts and that'll make them reach out to the Lord when they have a tough time, which of course is our goal, is for people to be able to understand why our forefathers clung to the Lord, why they called for a national day of prayer, for instance, why they called for a day of praise and thanksgiving. That was before they even did the Declaration of Independence. They did those two things, and so it's. The Lord is mentioned four times in the Declaration of Independence, and of course we hold these truths to be self-evident, right? That government is the gift of government is from the Lord. Freedom is from the Lord. And so that is why it's so important that on our money, we say, in God we trust. Before we even start our day, we say the Pledge of Allegiance, that of course mentions God in the Texas Pledge as well. So this is just another step to affirming what our forefathers knew, that the Lord has blessed our nation in ways, and turning to Him is always a good thing.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Well, I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but I believe there's already been one lawsuit on this bill. And you mentioned earlier that you're confident that we're going to win on this issue. But I'm just curious if you could explain to the audience a little bit more about what that's going to look like. And are you excited for this? What do you think that it's going
Yeah.
to entail?
The of course the 1971 Supreme Court ruling on Lemon versus Crispin is what eventually led to the removal. And it's time for us to, now that that's been overturned, it's time to put them back. Centuries of Americans saw the Ten Commandments in their education. It's only been in the last 50 years or 40 years even that they have been removed. So it's long been time for it to come back. And it makes me sad that people in your generation have never seen prayer in schools, have never seen the Bible in schools. We started our day with a prayer and devotional when I was a kid. I'm that old. Not for very long because, again, the lemon test happened. And so I'm excited for us to be back to that foundation as a nation, and that we've passed several bills that affirm that foundational stance. I knew we were going to have a lawsuit. In fact, when I was laying out the bill at the wee hours of the morning, one of the representatives actually said that they were going to be part of a lawsuit. And so, you know what, though? I will say this. I had Democrats that voted for it. Richard Raymond, in particular, told me that it was a really winning issue for him when he would talk to crowds and talk about putting the Ten Commandments back in classrooms. He'd get a standing ovation over that. So this isn't a Republican versus Democrat type of an issue. This is an issue of right and righteousness and returning to our foundations as a nation. And I think a lot of people on both sides of the aisle understand that.
I totally agree. And I'm glad that you brought up that this is bipartisan because I think that's so important to not get caught up in the debate, but to really see what this bill actually does. I mean, the media is all over it, but if you actually look what this bill does, it's absolutely incredible. So I just so appreciate you coming on and talking about that. I want to pivot to another bill that you were crucial in, SB 33. You were the sponsor in the House, and what this bill does is it bans taxpayer funds from going to out-of-state abortions. And so how are you feeling about this bill going forward? And do you think it's going to help protect mothers and babies in Texas?
Yeah, there were two cities in Texas, Austin and San Antonio, that actually set up grants to pay for out-of-state abortion travel. And it's incredible that tax dollars from these two cities would go to pay for something in another state that is not legal in Texas. That just blows my mind. And I had passed a bill as a freshman that banned tax dollars from being used for abortion providers and their affiliates. And so they found what they thought was an end around on that by making it grant money. And so we just closed that loophole up, and I'm proud of getting that done. And it's time for us to make sure that in Texas women know that a baby is a gift from the Lord. It's never been before. It's never going to be again. DNA that's just so precious, and that we in Texas affirm that. And our tax dollars are not going to go to ending that innocent life.
I absolutely love that answer, and you're totally right. Each individual baby is a gift from God, and I'm so grateful for your leadership in the House to continue to push that message forward, because there's so much work that still needs to be done. I mean, Texas is taking a lead as a pro-life state, but every time we go into legislative session, there's something left to do, and I'm so grateful for the work that you've been able to do to push this issue forward. It's obvious that you truly believe that every life is a gift, and you work so hard to push that forward.
And let me just add, I'm so grateful for y'all's work in this issue, and I encourage everyone's listening to support, of course, Texas Values. Also support your local crisis pregnancy center. They are working so hard to reach out to women in crisis that are at the hardest point in their lives with a life affirming message. So I just encourage you to get involved in that. In that issue at your local level, and love on some women that need some loving.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. That's so critical to this conversation. It's that local approach that just makes the difference for every woman and child affected. So thank you, Representative, for bringing that up. You just played such an incredible role in both of these bills this session, and now we're looking at having a special session. Do you have any thoughts, comments, concerns on the upcoming July 21st special session? It's coming up quick. We're almost there, and yet we just got out. So curious what your thoughts are on that.
I'm not excited about being back in Austin so quickly after being home for such a short amount of time, but I do hope that we can get some really good tweaks done to some bills. And the governor hasn't added a lot to the special session yet, but I understand some things are coming that might be included. I would be okay with us adding the abortion pill issue to the special session. We were just talking about life issues. I hope that we can get that, because we got a lot done on the life issue this session, but that was one that wasn't quite done yet. So we'll see if that gets added or not. And of course, it's up to the governor. I'm hopeful that we had such a successful session, and we did move the ball down the field significantly. And so I'm hopeful that whatever the governor asks for us to do, we will be successful in completing that in hopefully one session.
Absolutely. And yes, like you just said, hopefully in one special session. But you never know. So we're excited, and we're excited to see you back in Austin, and I guess less than a month now that we're moving into that special. So thank you again just for joining us today, but for all of your hard work on all of the issues we talked about today. And your presence in the Capitol is really important, and we're so grateful for all of the work that you've been able to do. We so appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, that was an incredible interview. Representative Noble is an incredible voice for faith, family, and freedom in the Capitol. But to finish us off, there's a few things that I want to remind you of. We are in the final days of our fundraising season. So our fiscal year ends on June 30th. We have a matching grant in place. It's through June 30th. So any gift that you give, there is a matching grant that will be applied to that. You can give by mail or over the phone or on our website, txvalues.org. If you support the work we're doing at Texas Values, please consider supporting us financially. We rely solely on donations. We are a nonprofit organization. So we appreciate all of your support, and we appreciate your prayers. If you can't give, please support us in other ways. You can forward our emails to other people or our social media posts, or just let other people that you know that care about faith, family, and freedom know about the work we're doing here. We rely on your support to continue the work that we're doing. So we so appreciate that. And we have events coming up, like I mentioned earlier, that are super, super important. So we definitely want to see you there. We have an event tomorrow in the Houston area at Maggiano's. So hopefully if you're in the Houston area, we still have some tickets left, and we would love to see you there. We also have our July 9th event happening in Fredericksburg, Texas. So if you are in the Hill Country area, this is definitely an event for you. It's at 1 o'clock on July 9th at Bridge Church. And we're so grateful for the Fredericksburg Tea Party for stepping in and hosting us in the Fredericksburg area. Really incredible work that they do down there. And we're so grateful to be able to come and let everyone know about the legislative session and what happened. And as we're gearing up, I mentioned with Representative Noble that the special session is on the way. So that starts July 21st. And just like in legislative session, we will have our team boots on the ground every single day during the special session, making sure that we stand for faith, family, and freedom in the Capitol. This is something that we do because we know how important it is. We understand how important protecting and promoting faith, family, and freedom in the state of Texas is. And as goes Texas, so goes the nation, I like to say. Texas is a leading force, and so it's so critical, not only for Texas, but for the rest of the United States to see Texas thriving and promoting the values that we hold so dear. And if you support that work, again, we do have a matching grant in place until June 30th, June 30th. And our website is txvalues.org. But we have multiple things coming up in later this year, so definitely stay posted for that. I wanted to go back to our Midland event and give a quick shout out to a few people. We had multiple sponsors for this event, and we're so grateful for their support. Macon and Karen McDonald, thank you so much for your support in Midland. We so appreciate it. The Rhodes family, thank you so much for stepping up and sponsoring this event, as well as Senator Sparks. Senator Sparks is in the Texas Senate right now, and he was a sponsor of this event as well in his area. So this is the West Texas event, and he is he's the state senator for SD 31. So we're so grateful that not only was he able to be there, but he was able to support us in our efforts in that area of the state. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that. And again, our South Lake legislative update is sold out tonight in Tarrant County, but we still have a few tickets left in the Houston area, so we really hope to see you there. And yet again, Texas Faith Fest is just around the corner, so go ahead and put it on your calendars. You don't want to miss it this year. It's going to be in Austin, so be ready to come down to the Austin area for this incredible event. September 26th and 27th at Great Hills Baptist Church. We have confirmed Riley Gaines will be joining us by recorded video. Again, this is not something you want to miss. You definitely want to see her and all of the incredible incredible work that she's been doing, as well as Senator Mays Middleton, who is a champion for faith and family in the Texas Senate. He is going to be there talking about all of the things that he's up to and working for faith, family, and freedom. So mark your calendars. Registration will be open before you know it. But if you're at our website, go ahead and take a look at TexasFaithFest.com, because there are lots and lots of photos from last year's event and all of the incredible speakers that we had there. I mean, Governor Mike Huckabee was at the event. That was incredible to get to hear about him and all the work that he's doing right before he became the ambassador to Israel. It just did incredible event, as well as Michael Knowles with the Daily Wire. He was absolutely amazing. It's so cool to get to hear from someone that's such a leader on these issues. We had Morgan McMichael with Turning Point USA, who came and talked about the impact that Gen Z can have, as well as Reagan, as Reagan Green, the son of Rick Green, who is a critical part of Patriot Academy. He came down as well, and so we had leaders from across the country come to talk to you about the issues that are so important to us. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, we are a nonprofit organization, so if you support the work we're doing, please consider contributing to the organization at txvalues.org. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.